Iron Road, A Forgotten Journey. Hello everyone. Today, I'll be reviewing the movie Iron Road and exploring how its themes connect to the real-life discrimination experienced by Chinese workers in North America and how that relates to the discrimination people have faced in South Africa. My interest in this topic comes from my own experience growing up in South Africa. I have seen how the legacy of racial injustice still affects people's lives, even years after apartheid ended. That background made me more sensitive to the experiences of other marginalized groups, like the Chinese diaspora. Seeing how Chinese people were treated, both in South Africa and places like North America, made me want to understand more about their journey. The Chinese diaspora refers to the millions of Chinese who migrate to different parts of the world over the past few centuries. Some were seeking better opportunities, others were forced to move due to poverty, war, or political instability. But wherever they went, they often faced the same pattern: discrimination, low-paying jobs, and even being seen as outsiders. Iron Road tells the story of a young Chinese woman who disguises herself as a boy so she can join a group of laborers working on the Canadian Pacific Railway. It's a fictional story, but it's based on a real history. Chinese men were brought into Canada in the 1800s to help build the railway under extremely dangerous and unfair conditions. Many of them died doing this work. They were paid less than white workers and were given the most dangerous tasks. When the railway was finished, instead of being honored, they were punished and face laws that made it harder for them to stay in Canada or bring their families. The movie gives us a glimpse into the isolation and pain these workers felt. They were far from home, in a country that didn't welcome them, doing back-breaking labor just to survive. This mirrors what happened in South Africa during apartheid, when people were treated differently based on their race. Non-white South Africans, especially black South Africans, were also given the most dangerous, underpaid jobs and were denied basic rights. Even Chinese South Africans were affected by racial policies. For a long time, they were classified as non-white and treated as second-class citizens. One of the most powerful parts of Iron Road is how it shows the main character struggling to hold on to their identity. She has to pretend to be someone she's not, just to survive. But even then, she still holds on to her culture, her language, her values, and her memories of home. This reminds me of how diaspora communities often find ways to keep their heritage alive, even when the world tries to erase it. In South Africa, many communities did the same, holding on to language, traditions, and even faith in the face of discrimination. What's also important is recognizing how much the Chinese workers contributed, even when they weren't welcomed. The Canadian Pacific Railway wouldn't have been completed without them, yet history often forgets their role. This is similar to how in South Africa, the labor and contributions of non-white people were ignored or erased for decades, and even now, many of those stories are still being rediscovered. Iron Road uses fiction to tell a historical story, but it does so with care. The movie doesn't hide the discrimination or sugarcoat the pain. It shows the characters' hopes, fears, and sacrifices, which helps bring the past to life. By comparing the film to real historical accounts, we can see that many of the struggles shown in the movie actually happened. These weren't isolated experiences, they were parts of a larger pattern of systematic injustice. So why does this matter today? Because the story of Iron Road is still relevant. Discrimination hasn't disappeared, it's just changed shape. Many immigrants and minorities still face racism, stereotyping, and unequal treatments around the world. By learning from the past, we can better understand how to build more inclusive societies. Stories like Iron Road help us remember that people who came before us, people who endured hardship, so that future generations could have a voice. To conclude, Iron Road isn't just a movie, it's a powerful reflection of history. It reminds us that behind every major achievement, like building a Canadian railway, there were people who sacrificed everything. By connecting the story to the legacy of discrimination in South Africa, we can see that the fight for dignity, equality, and recognition is a global one. And that's why stories like this matter.